in the prime of life dying and washing up on our shores. And then that's probably only about 10% of the whales and dolphins that are actually dying, because most of them don't wash up on shore. And thank God again that we have so many great champions in Congress, but also in Trenton, believe it or not. We have amazing local representatives. Assemblyman Simonson has joined us. I'd like to invite him up to say a couple of words.
And I don't always dress like this, so excuse me. A long ride from Cape May up here. Listen, we've said it before. I know the congressman, myself, Senator Testa, Assemblyman McClellan, they're at other places. We're all over today, different events. And not only that, but our Assemblyman Guardian, Assemblywoman Swift, and Senator Palestina from Legislative District 2 as well. You know, we're here for you guys. We're here for our sea life. And as someone who grew up down here my whole life, you know, anytime you're dumping 4 acres of rock around each base of these windmills is not a good thing for our ocean. We're running electric cables under the ocean floor, putting cement blankets over top of them, and not to mention the hazards it causes with the drilling, and like we talked about the sonar, but you know, we've lost bats, birds, rays, all these other types of wildlife, not to mention that our biggest source in our district down here is commercial fishing. And when you can't drag fish and you can't put food on the table for our commercial fishermen, it's not only our ecosystem that suffers, but it's our economic system that suffers. And also, I was just in Denmark last year. There are landfill after landfill of these turbines that are non-recyclable. So when they tell you that it's green energy, okay, ask them how much money they got in their pocket, because it's nonsense. And that's what continues to happen. You know, Congressman Van Drew and I could go out and lobby for these windmills and probably get a lot of money in our campaign accounts. Good. But that's not what we're about. He hasn't been about that for the last few decades that he's been working for us down here, regardless of the side of the aisle he's been on. And we continue to fight for what's right in the real South Jersey, because we love where we live and we want to keep it the way it is. And it just doesn't make sense when you're putting hundreds of these structures out in the ocean that they think it's not going to harm the ecosystem. And, you know, I could care less about what it looks like, but I care about what it does to our ecosystem, what it does to the infrastructure of our ocean floors, and all the things that we've talked about. So keep fighting the good fight. God bless you all. Stay safe. Remember what Memorial Day is all about, and Godspeed. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank all of you. You truly are doing God's work. I want you to realize that this is a very, very big deal. This is much more than you all realize, including me in the beginning. I've been dealing with this for a few years. And in the beginning, I thought, okay, this is going to be innocent enough. You looked at the windmills that are over at the MUA in Atlantic County. Some of you see it by Atlantic City there, and you thought if they're going to do a little pilot program and see how it works, there's nothing wrong with that. This is a much, much bigger and much, much more difficult issue. And I don't want to keep you here all day, because I know you've got your work to do out there. Number one, what you're doing is right. You have to let not only our residents know, and that education process has gone a great distance in recent time, but all those people who have second homes down here. Those are huge investments to them. This is the ocean that they love. This is the Cape May County and actually the Jersey Shore that they love. Atlantic County is getting involved now for sure. Ocean County is very involved. Monmouth County is really starting to get involved. Certainly Cape May County is on the cutting edge. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Why is it such a big deal? Look at the breadth and the size of this project. And I'm not going to exaggerate, because every time I say it, it's hard for me to believe. It is going to cover millions of acres of ocean. Not thousands, not hundreds, millions of acres of ocean. and it is going to be not windmills that are small and unobtrusive. These things are going to be over 1,000 feet high with lights on top of them. It's going to make it difficult for navigation. It's going to make it difficult for the sea creatures, obviously, that we've spoken about, and that originally it was almost biblical, because a lot of folks were talking about this, but it really didn't truly catch on until, God help them, those whales washed ashore and those dolphins washed ashore, and then people realized that something was wrong. And by the way, don't let Bohm, NOAA, or Ørsted, or Atlantic Shores tell any of you, oh, one has nothing to do with the other. They're just all of a sudden bumping into boats. Well, if they are bumping into boats, it's because they can't hear right because of all the And don't let them tell you it's coincidental. Don't tell you it happened by accident, that it has nothing to do when they started their testing and their work under the ocean. It is not coincidental, it's for real. So think about what this is going to be like. And it is the industrialization of our ocean and of our shore. And what's it going to be like? Eventually, thousands and thousands of these windmills. Eventually, no fishing. In UK and other areas in Europe, check it out, it's all fake. You can fact check every single thing I say. They've stopped fishing in most of the areas. They can't fish there anymore. We're going to destroy our fishing industry. We're going to hurt our tourism industry. We're going to hurt our real estate industry. We are going to make it so difficult for all the businesses that have always survived to go into the future and continuing what we have. Besides, which we know already so obvious to us, the environmental issues. It's important that when you explain this to people, that you only don't just discuss the fact that we are ruining our wildlife and our ocean. That is important. But it's also important that you explain to them that it represents jobs. And, you know, I thought it was so arrogant. Ørsted is a very arrogant corporation that is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. All our energy was, not all, much of our energy will be controlled by foreign countries. That's an issue that people have to know. Again, our tourism is going to get hurt. They estimate, just in Cape May County alone, not my estimate, it's Ørsted who said this. They said it's not going to be that big a deal. It should come to about $1 billion a year. Not that big a deal. Now, if Ørsted said it's $1 billion, what the hell is it really? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
5.
There's nothing good about this. And you know what's even worse? It's not going to do everything or anything of what they said. It's not going to stop the environmental problems we have. It's not going to stop the carbon footprint. There are ways of going about this. And by the way, it's not going to really, in any significant way, and even NOAA and Bohm have said there will be no significant change due to these on our carbon footprint. So what are we doing? We're just spoiling our environment. We're hurting our fishing industry. We're hurting our tourism industry. We're killing our wonderful whales and dolphins. Why? Because a lot of people are going to make a lot of money.
My name is Rich Barely, and who am I? I'm a passionate individual that the group recognized to maybe let me speak. And what I do, I go to event after event after event to learn the truth of what's going on within wind energy and not believe in what's being said to us by the media. And that's the only way you're going to begin to learn of what's going on, is to go out to events. I learned last weekend that the U.S. Bureau of Ocean Management rushing through approvals for 25 projects along the East Coast, and close to 3,000 to 4,000 windmills are projected to go up and down the East Coast. New Jersey alone has 357 windmills from Long Beach Island to Cape May that are earmarked to invade our Jersey Shore. What do we say to that? No! No! They're talking about 9,000 miles of cable emitting dangerous EMFs buried in our ocean floor, digging it up and ruining our fishing industry, the pleasure industry that I do, and the commercial industry, ruined. These windmills aren't going to be 45 miles, 50 miles offshore. They're going to be right out front here, 9 miles offshore, lit up at night, 1,000 feet in height. Is that what we want to see in our Jersey Shore? Is that what we're going to permit them to do on our Jersey Shore?
Nope.
Dan Klein, host of the Dan Klein Show on WOND Radio.
Thanks very much. And the assemblyman, he passed me on the way up. I came up from 52nd Street, and so I'm running a little bit behind. Folks, I'm not going to take a lot of time. First of all, thanks to everybody for coming out here on Memorial Day weekend. I can tell you firsthand, but I don't even have to tell you. I'm sure everybody here knows you're getting pulled in 15 different directions today. So to be here illustrates how important this is. Ben Franklin, when he was making a decision about something, would put a line on a piece of paper. On one side, he'd say reasons for, and on the other side, ideas against. And on the reasons for this offshore wind turbine project, Congressman, maybe you can help me out, or maybe somebody here in the audience can help me out. I can't come up with any reason for it. Is there any reason to do this? Let me explain to you what I mean. We're going to decimate our offshore eastern seaboard. We're going to decimate our fishing. We could potentially ruin marine life all along the eastern seaboard. The view, by the way, of course, from my perspective, is at the bottom of the list. If you can't, they came to us and said, hey, we have this idea, and it's going to be very disruptive. There could be a lot of problems, but when it's all done, your electric bill is going to be almost nothing or whatever. There was some upside to it where you could go, fine, maybe, whatever. There's no upside, folks. I can't see any upside, and we're going to let them decimate the eastern seaboard of not just Ocean City, the entire New Jersey coast. It doesn't make any sense.
And your colleague on the radio, Ann Baker, is here. She wants to say a couple words.
All right, Ann.
Good morning, everybody. I love the fact that we have this many. Love the fact that we have this many people, but we should have 1,000. We should have thousands of people here. But people don't know. I hear from people who live on the island, and I say, "Are you going to come to the rally? You're going to speak up about the windmills, the wind turbines?"
I don't know.
Nada. They don't know. So we have to speak up. We have to have our voices heard. And if you don't talk about it, perhaps no one will know about it, even in your small circle of friends. Sometimes we're afraid to speak because of the woke culture. You know, we want the Green New Deal. You don't know what the Green New Deal is.
Right.
When you consider that the making of a wind turbine and the CO2 produced in the making of all the components of a wind turbine, the CO2 produced is almost the same as the CO2 they're telling you they're going to save over 20 freaking years.
And that was wonderful. By the way, make sure you post everything from today and here forward on social media. Get the word out. I've been told that the Protect Our Coast Change.org petition has passed 600,000 signatures. We want to get to 1 million. We want to get to 10 million. We got to get people across the country to notice what's going on. I was just in Florida. People in Florida are more educated about what's going on off the Jersey coast than people in Jersey are. That's ridiculous.
The governor took the New Jersey home rule power from our community leaders and gave it to the New Jersey BPU. The Murphy administration overrode local zoning regulations by granting the Board of Public Utilities authority to supersede local government power. All the power is given to the BPU to make decisions for us ratepayers on this project. It's alarming to watch the BPU monthly meetings live on YouTube, determining the direction of the wind turbine projects. As far as I can tell, there are 4 members making and voting on amendments on our We the People behalf with 0 pushback. Public feedback is none during the meetings. These 4 members that we see voting online are backed by the governor. Since when does 4 make a quorum? Unless I'm missing something. This is just one of the heads of the snakes in regards to this project's opposition. This is not talked about, the BPU. These wind turbines we're dealing with are a foreign entity, not our local American utility companies the BPU deals with on a daily basis. Are these turbine companies renegotiating their contracts? Are they going to ask for new subsidies to builders who have won contracts to build offshore wind farms? There's a lot of red flags waiting to be answered by the BPU.